I have been lost in the wilderness for what feels a grievous span of years. I was abandoned here, though whether by fate or folly, I cannot rightly say, while upon a journey undertaken with comrades of mine. We had set out to complete a task, simple enough at the outset, but I was turned about by some cruel trick of path or providence, and found myself unable to rejoin those I had travelled with. I wandered through the webbed tangle of trails and tangled growths until the sun withdrew and the curtain of night descended fully upon me. There, in the failing light and chill, I crafted a pitiful shelter and for the first time felt that old ache, the ache of lonesomeness, of fear and of shame that no comfort could hush. Day bled into day, and I searched unceasingly for my companions, but in vain. I lost count of sunsets and sunrises alike, each one a scratch upon the ledger of my dismay. It was upon an evening like so many others that the being I would come to know as Gentle Bear first came unto me. I lay near the bank of a river, the sound of its soft and ceaseless motion washing over me in the darkness. Around me stretched naught but inky blackness, and the spectral visions conjured by an imagination weary and worn. Whether it was the river or my own heart that ceased its rhythm first, I still cannot say, but I know that in that moment all sensation seemed to fade from me. Even the feel of the cold and unforgiving earth beneath me became unmoored from memory, and then, within that wall of pure darkness, there appeared a door, or something like unto it, a cleft in the night. From the void came the silence that stilled the very breath of the wild, and out from the shadow a shape emerged, a man, or some echo of one. He walked without sound or haste, and I, pitiful and broken, knew not what to do, for I carried in my chest little more than a child's courage. In truth, no child could have been so utterly useless as I was in that hour. When at last he ceased his approach and stood a great and unmoving shadow above me, I knew with certainty, beyond doubt, that my end had come. And so, from the place where I lay curled upon the ground at his feet, I cried out, "Please, please, go from my side. Leave me in peace." And from the darkness, from all directions at once, a voice answered, "Of what peace do you speak? Any peace you once possessed fled long before I stood here now." I pleaded further, choking upon the words, "If not for the sake of peace, then for the sake of my sanity, I beg of you, do not take from me the breath that remains, my final possession, such as it is." Again, from every quarter of the woods, the voice replied, "What breath you have is your own, and yours it shall remain. Naught but curiosity led me to the place where you now lie. I left my home desiring to know what reason might compel a soul to dwell within the deep wilds that all others shun. Desire. I muttered bitterly to myself, though in truth I was relieved, if only for the moment, that I had not yet been struck down by his hand. What say have I in where I dwell? What company I kept has abandoned me to my plight, and I desire nothing more than to cast off the shackles of despair and be rid of this place, this wilderness, this wild, forever. A laugh answered me, dry and creaking like wind in dead leaves. "Oh, ho, ho! What funny words you speak," said the voice, forgetting so quickly what led you here, such wonderfully nonsensical statements. "No matter, in time, I believe, you shall recall the truth." The man, if man he be, slowly rose from the forest floor, brushing the loam and trembling leaves from his limbs. I stared. "If either of us is mad or speaking nonsense," I said, "then surely it is you, the one cloaked in shadow, who stepped out of nothing. What truth is there for me to recall? I was upon a journey with companions at my side. We had a task to complete before returning home, back to our lives." "Is that so, adventurer?" the voice teased, coiling through the trees like a serpent of smoke. "Well then, tell me, what task was it you were sent to complete here in the deep wild? Perhaps you might describe this home you speak of with such desperation. Or better yet, what is your name?" I stood there, dumbstruck, my brow furrowed as I reached into myself, searching for something, anything that might give shape to my past. But each memory I grasped dissolved into ash within my mind. Thought itself grew thick and grey. The more I sought to remember, the less there was to remember at all. I staggered, swayed, and at last I collapsed again upon the ground. I knelt there, panting, staring out into the night beyond the trees. There I saw not my face, not even a shape, but a reflection of perfect blankness. The shadows around me pulsed, and the voice returned. "Ah, Perhaps you do not yet know who you are or what you do here. That is all right, but if you follow the marks you left upon the trees, they may yet lead you back to something true. Marks? I asked. Yes, said the voice, gentler now. Marks carved with care. You don't remember leaving them? Surely you had some reason, or else why go to the trouble? Follow them, and when the pieces begin to come together, do not worry. I shall be here, watching, waiting. I rose and began to walk. The forest seemed to shift around me as I went, and each carved mark I passed, etched into bark old and weathered, seemed to hold some weight, some whisper of knowing. My fingers brushed them unconsciously. One was a triangle, another a jagged swirl. Others were lines crossed and recrossed as though someone had attempted to bury a truth that would not stay buried. One mark held me fast. I stared at it long. The groove was shallow, yet the sap had dried in slow rivulets around its edge. This one, I whispered, this one feels close. Closer still, said the voice. Gentle Bear, I had begun to think of him, his words floating from no single place. You near the end, or the beginning, depending on the direction your truth flows. Through the underbrush I came upon a tree, great and ancient, its trunk split wide as though by lightning. Beneath it lay a corpse, curled in on itself. The body was sunken, rotted, its limbs tangled like roots. The soil beneath it was long soaked in old blood. Above the corpse, carved deep into the bark, was one final word. I stared, and the word took shape in my mind. Betrayal. The instant I understood it, a memory lashed across my consciousness like a whip, a scream, a body flailing in the trees, rocks hurled, voices raised, a wild madness upon the air. I remember, I gasped. He was up there, screaming, throwing stones like curses. I had no choice. He meant to kill me. I tasted the words in my mouth. They tasted of iron. I called to him, told him to come down, but he would not listen. He raged, cursed me by name, and when I climbed to fetch him, I swallowed hard. He lunged. I grabbed a rock. I had to defend myself.